Targeting strategies. A target market is a group of customers a company decides to focus its marketing efforts on. Choosing a target market is a major decision, and if the wrong target's picked, it could have serious consequences. Some markets are composed of individuals with one or more similar characteristics that cause them to have similar product needs. And market segmentation is the process of dividing a total market into groups with relatively similar product needs, then designing a marketing mix that matches those needs. Not everyone wants the same thing, and market segmentation can be used to do a better job of developing a marketing mix that does a good job of satisfying a small portion of a large varied market, called a market segment. Market segments can be defined by segmentation variables. These are characteristics of people or companies that can be used to divide a larger market into segments. One possible targeting approach is called an undifferentiated strategy. This means that you simply try to appeal to everyone. Your target market includes everybody in the market. This may be appealing because a larger market seems like it would have a higher sales potential. This may work if the market is homogeneous. That means all the potential customers have very similar wants and needs when it comes to your product. Basically, everyone in the market wants the same thing, so there's no need to focus on any specific group of consumers. When this is the case, an undifferentiated targeting strategy would use a single marketing mix directed at the entire market. Can you think of any products that are in homogeneous markets? What about salt? This might seem like a good example until you start thinking about different types of salt. When you first think about salt, you're probably thinking about yourself and the way you use salt. But just a minute. This is an example of marketing myopia because you're using a self-centered focus instead of thinking about the wide variety of consumers of salt. There are a lot of different kinds of salt. There's table salt, kosher salt, flaky salt, coarse sea salt, something called pink Himalayan salt, rock salt, and flavored salts like garlic salt or celery salt. Table salt comes in a variety of packages. Morton sells table salt in single-serve packages, 26-ounce round boxes, 2.9-ounce grinders, and then there's the business-to-business market. Morton also sells 25-pound and 50-pound bags for restaurants and other commercial users, and 40-pound bags of swimming pool salt. Salt's also used in chemical processing, road de-icing, livestock, and the pharmaceutical industry. So even something as basic as salt is clearly not in a homogeneous market. Likewise, water and sugar are probably not in purely homogeneous markets either. So when should an undifferentiated approach be used? To be profitable, target markets should meet several conditions. First, you must be able to identify a consumer as belonging to a segment or not. It's easy to identify segments based on some demographic characteristics such as age or income, but it's much harder to identify consumers based on psychographic variables such as personality or self-concept. Second, the segment must be measurable. Some form of data must be available to measure the size and market potential of the segment. Third, the segment must be substantial. The market potential needs to be large enough to warrant the investment. Fourth, the segment should be reachable. It should be accessible both from a distribution and communication standpoint. Finally, the segment must be responsive. It should respond better to a distinct marketing mix rather than a generic approach. If you cannot find segments with these characteristics, you could consider an undifferentiated targeting strategy. With a concentrated targeting strategy, the company focuses on a single market segment and uses one marketing mix. In the extreme case, this means the company only sells one product to a specific market segment using one channel of distribution and one price. Not many large companies follow this in its pure sense. For example, Ferrari manufactures exotic sports cars, but it has more than one product. In addition to 10 different automobile models, the company also has product lines of apparel for men, women, boys, and girls. It has watches, eyewear, and collectibles. An example of a concentrated strategy would be a small company specializing in building one-of-a-kind motorcycles to exact specifications. A concentrated strategy does force the company to become an expert on one group of customers, and if you have limited resources, the strategy may prevent you from trying to do too many different things at the same time. You also may have less competition and can find success being a market leader in a small market. It can also be used to form a foundation that supports expansion to other markets over time. With a differentiated strategy, you target 2 or more market segments with a different marketing mix for each segment. This is the path most companies take. It increases growth potential because the marketing mixes are aimed at more customers. Procter & Gamble, for example, describes itself as having a focused product portfolio with 10 categories of daily use products that include brands such as Tide, Cascade, Pampers, Bounty, Charmin, NyQuil, Crest Ivory, Olay, and Gillette. Think about this. Montblanc pens are known for high quality and high prices. Does this mean the company is using a concentrated strategy? In reality, Montblanc, in addition to writing instruments and many different prices, also sells leather goods and watches, so Montblanc is using a differentiated strategy.